Hello there, and welcome to Fridays with Tab and Chance. I am Tabitha Brown, and this is my husband.
I'm Chance, what's up?
Bring the beat in. Fridays, Fridays with Tab and Chance. Ba-dum, bum, bum. Fridays with Tab and Chance.
Good job. It ain't always, we're not partying all the time.
But last time you said I didn't hold it long enough,
held a note.
and I held a note. So that means we're supposed to go into the robot. Come on, babe.
What's the topic today?
Today's topic, because you're doing it right now.
What?
You're trying to embarrass me by not doing the robot give me the beat.
I'm trying to embarrass you.
Yes, and my feelings is getting hurt because I wanted to do it. Wait a minute, did you just
What?
What's that noise? Was Blackie under you?
What are you talking about?
I thought I just heard a little. Oh, you were saying that.
Oh, you got a fart?
Yeah.
Man, come on, man.
It was a little.
It might be my stomach growling.
Oh, well.
But
Today we're talking about embarrassing moment.
now that was embarrassing that you just gonna accuse me of farting right here on the camera. I'm just sitting here.
I'd have never heard that if you had to continue
But you
to
couldn't.
beat.
No, but
If you had to continue to beat and let me do the robot.
If you even thought that I farted though, you should have. You should have just. We've been together long enough. You just keep going, but you don't say that in front of everybody.
Well, because you got a mic on, they would have heard it.
No, that's what we got JR for. If he would have heard a fart, he supposed to edit the fart out. But you'd have put it out there like, did you fart? What I'm supposed to say in front of the world? Yeah, I farted.
If you did, that's what you say. We didn't talk about this before. You told the world how I be doing stuff in the car.
Well, first off, if I wanted to fart, I'm a fart. They are watching me in my house. This is my house. I ain't gonna hold mine.
Hey, your stomach hurt.
I'm about to tell JR, pause for a second.
And then you gonna walk out, or you gonna do it right here where me and JR got to suffer?
Would you walk out?
Yeah. No. Okay, so let's talk about it. Somebody had asked, and I can't remember who it was. Oh Lord, these braids. Are you ever embarrassed around your partner, or have there been like an embarrassing moment? And how do you recover from embarrassment in your relationship? So I thought that'd be a fun topic, and it literally took me right back to the very first time, probably one of the few times that I've been embarrassed in front of you, which was when I was 21 years old. We was 21. Me and Chance had our own, place in Greensboro. And I can't even remember what my mama had called me about. We were on the phone, and I got upset with whatever she was trying to tell me about something. I can't remember the exact, but all I know is that I cursed on the phone. And I said, and they weren't even a hard curse word, but I said, damn. Like, you can't tell me I'm damn grown.
That's the worst. That's the worst though, babe.
I'm damn grown.
That's like you cussed her out.
Right? And I hung up the phone. And she didn't call me back. Right? And we lived in Greensboro. Mama was living in Madison, so it's like a 45-minute drive. And so a week went by, and I was like, it's over now. We're to go to church. It's Sunday, going to church. After the church, we always go to my granny house, and we always eat together. So I was like, it's been a week. It's over. I ain't even thinking nothing else of it. And my mama was one of those people, like, you really never saw her upset. Chance never seen my mama mad, right?
Not once.
She always had a very soft voice, rarely ever raised her voice. And so the weekend went by. After church, we're going to my granny house. Me and Chance pull up in the yard. Mama come out the front door as we getting out the car. She come out the front door, smiling, waving. I was driving.
Hey, baby.
Chance is on the passenger side.
in the
She said,
house.
you can go in the house and get you something to eat, baby. And I was like, oh, hey, mama, I done let it go. Before I could get mama popped me in my mouth. Chance was just walking off. She popped me in my mouth. Not like popped me in my mouth. She said, don't you ever in your life cuss at me again or hang the phone up on me. All right, then you come on in the house and let's get you something to eat. I used to have fuller lips. This is what I have now because the way my mama smacked my lips off that day. I look at Chance was like this.
I said, I'm going to get me some chicken.
He talking about, walk on in the house. Now we in the house now, I'm in there, lips burning, trying to eat. I can't even drink my sweet tea because the tea burning my lips. We just sat there. Like mama, and listen, it's like nothing ever happened. Mama it ain't like nothing has ever happened. She going business as usual. 2 hours later, it's time for us to go. We get in the car. This one gonna say, hey, you all right?
You all right?
I was like, shut up, Jen. He talking about, bet you won't do that again. So embarrassed. I was like, man. But we laughed about it after the fact. But in the moment, I was like, oh my God, I'm 21 years old. I cannot believe my mama just smacked me in my mouth in front of my boyfriend, right? But baby, I learned a valuable lesson. Don't you play the, whew, I never did that again, honey. You ain't never that grown, okay? But I think in the moment it was embarrassment. And then of course, it was like an icebreaker that happened with Chance. You all right? You know, I think you were probably trying to make me feel better, like laugh it off a little bit.
It was not, to me, I didn't really look at it as, it was, what's the word? It was surprising to me. But I was like, it's your mama, what you embarrassed by? Like, you know what I mean? Because I was accustomed to it.
In front of my boyfriend? See,
Hey,
I wasn't accustomed to that
my
like
mom, listen, that's just normal behavior. Like, listen, you don't get out of pocket. Boy, who you talking to? Bow, you just move on. You just, hey, mom. So, like, oh. Okay, like, I'm like, you ain't never been popped in the mouth.
Hey, I seen your mom go upside your head many times in
school. So, I'm like, man, I ain't.
In front of me and my daddy.
Like,
your
man,
mama, she was firing you up.
Yeah, I feel like that probably was when my embarrassment, that's why I ain't too easily embarrassed.
Yeah.
Around you. Because of stuff like that. We grew up in a small community. My mom was known, like my mom showed up to the school. I got suspended from a game and she found out and came to the school. And I was a little too slow with walking to the car, you know, trying to be cool in front of my friends when she told me to
hurry up.
And Tab and her dad happened to be
me and Daddy just sitting out there.
They happened to be in the parking lot as we got outside. Now, I was lucky that my mom didn't really show off on me in the gym. She let me get outside the gym. I was moving a little too slow, trying to be a little too cool, but when we walked outside the door, man, boy, what I tell you, pow, get it, pow, you know, and I'm just like.
My daddy said, well.
Well. My embarrassment went away a long time ago with that kind of stuff, so I wouldn't, when that happened to Tab, I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Your mama normal.
Yeah.
Your mama, you know.
I just had never had that experience. You know, my daddy would embarrass me in different ways growing up, but never like, I ain't get popped in front of like my friend or my, you know, well, I have got popped in front of my friends, like as a little girl trying to cut up. But in front of my boyfriend, I'm 21, right? In my mind, I'm grown, right? Yeah, in my choice voice, I'm grown. But I think that, of course, in our relationship, there has not been many times that I think we've been embarrassed. I think there are sometimes conversations that you might can feel embarrassed about talking about sometimes, right? And I think that goes with like communicating, like, communication. But like if there's something that you really want to talk about and it might feel embarrassing, as a woman, right? I think early on when me and Chance first got together, it was my first experience with birth control. I also didn't know how my body was going to react to birth control. When I first got on birth control pills, it gave me yeast infections, right? And I was like, oh my God, why am I getting yeast infections? And that was embarrassing to me because now I'm living with my boyfriend and I got to tell him like, I got a yeast infection. But also I think because we don't normalize talking about these type of things, especially, we talking over 25 years ago, right? But he a young man. He don't know what no yeast infection is, right? So just me trying to explain to him like, I got to do this cream thing and I got to, do this medication for 7 days. And, back then, that's kind of how it was. And hoping that he understood, but also feeling like I feel kind of embarrassed to even have to say this. But I did, right? And I don't know if that made you feel, if you can even remember like how it made you feel as a young man, talking about it.
You're talking about an immature young man.
Yeah, we
too.
young.
I'm like, man,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I just remember being educated, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like in our process and being impatient too. Like you said, I'm a young man. I'm like, this is my first encounter with it. Mm-hmm. Of course, my mom never talked to me about that. So where do you learn that as a young man?
Right.
If you're not educated about it, you don't have patience for it. Right, so I had to learn how to be patient, and then with patience there comes trial and tribulations and disasters. So we were arguing a whole lot because we just, we young too. Yeah. But with you saying that, yeah, I can see how that could be embarrassing. I can see how it could be embarrassing from your perspective, but I didn't look at it like it was anything you should be embarrassed about. Of course, when you're on the outside and you the person, you looking at it like that, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think about embarrassment, right? I can't pinpoint me losing my temper, stuff like that, is what I'm, what I think back on and be like, man, not just embarrassing you, but embarrassment for like choice. Mm-hmm. Like stuff like that, or because I didn't have patience or I'm going through something else and losing my temper. I think that is probably one of the most common things or one of the most regretful things that I can think about where I'm like, man, I wish that I would have been able to exhibit more poise.
Handle it differently.
Yeah, to handle it differently in that aspect where it's like, man, so I could have set a better example of control and to give y'all some kind of peace. But in hindsight, that's something that if you didn't see it, you don't know. You know what I mean? Right. But I do remember being embarrassed for like being too strict on choice, in sports events, games, things of that nature, that kind of stuff. And then, no, I can tell you another thing. Things that I felt like men should know. And then me having to acknowledge that I don't know how to do it, babe. Mm-hmm. One in particular, yeah, that's probably it. Would be, stuff related to like a car breaking down and me not knowing if we getting hustled. It's one thing for me not to know how to repair it, right? But then it's another thing for me not to know if we're being hustled or not, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's another thing for you to realize that you got hustled. And,
after the fact.
And you don't know, there's no recourse. There's nothing that I can do. I got hustled. The only recourse is just don't go back to that mechanic.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean? And I remember being in Palmdale and we had just got our new house and we was thinking to change the locks. And I was like, I think I can do this. And could not change that lock. I had to remember Mont had to come.
Had to do it.
He had to come and do it. And then with learning how to do simple things like changing a tire, but could not get, I remember the bolts, like little simple things. So I had to get Russ to come and help me. Remember Amanda? Russ? He had to come and help me. Those are things where I was, I would feel for a moment like, man, this is embarrassing.
Like as a man.
How are you gonna take care of your family, teach your kids, why are you, you are here focusing on sports and that kind of stuff to teach your kids survival, but you don't know the basic stuff, right? So those were moments where I look back on where it's like things that I'm like, dude, you don't know how to do this. Like, you just simply don't know how to do it. Over time, I learned how to do a lot of the stuff, but you learn it through failing. But thank God, you with somebody who, when you look at them, you can tell like, they don't care.
I'm like, my daddy taught me how to do that, I do it. Okay, I can check the oil in the car.
Or listen, we'll pay somebody to do it.
Right. When we got to that point, it was like, hey, that's it. Now that's his thing. I don't even know how to do that. I'm gonna get somebody to do it.
I'm gonna get somebody to do it. That's right.
I think, I wasn't necessarily embarrassed because of your reaction, but when we first got together, I didn't know how to cook. And I always thought I would never need to know how to cook because I was going to be rich one day and have a chef. That was always my thing I used to tell my mom and my granny and then when they used to try to get me in the kitchen. And I'm like, I don't need to know how to cook. Like, I'm going to be a famous actress one day and I'm going to be rich and I'm going to have multiple chefs,
Mm-hmm.
And then me and Chance got together. We was living together in our first little one-bedroom apartment. He was like, hey, babe, can you cook? I was like, yeah. I had to call my granny, call my aunt, my mama, and they had to teach me over the phone how to cook. And I remember he had wanted fried chicken, and I did not know how to cook fried chicken. And so I remember, my aunt trying to tell me like how to do it and how it should look on the outside. And I got like a little, skillet to cook it on, because I always saw my granny and them cook perfect fried chicken on the stovetop. And so I was like, that's how I'm gonna do it. And so they, my aunt, we call her sister, she told me how to, get my batter together and stuff. And she was like, how you season the flour and the batter or whatever. So I had did all that. And she told me to cook it slow, but I don't think I understood, because she was like, you want to make sure it's done in the inside, but pretty and brown on the outside. I made it pretty and brown on the outside. And and everything else came out the can. Like I had like canned beans, some canned green, like everything else. But this, I was proud. And Chance, when he broke that chicken open and that blood was coming out that chicken, Chance like, hey, babe.
That right there?
I don't think the chicken don't supposed to have no blood, babe. I was like, don't eat that, okay?
Let's run over here to KFC.
Yeah, let's go on over here and get us a little something. I was like, as I remember calling sister, and she was like, you ain't cook it slow enough. You cooked it too fast on the outside, but your inside didn't cook. And I remember I told mom said, no, you're going to need to get you a deep fryer, so you ain't even got to worry about it. You just drop it in there and let it, and that's how I ended up using for years, a deep fryer. But even like trying to cook like pinto beans. Remember the first time I thought the deep fry and the crock pot was the same thing? And I put them like pintos, you thought somebody was shooting in the house because they started popping everywhere out of the deep fryer because I thought I had put them in a crock. But those are the things like, we laughed about it, but in the moment I was like, oh my God, I don't know how to cook. But he never made me feel terrible about it, which was a great thing. He'd be like, babe, it's all right, like,
Because I knew what I was capable of.
Right.
And you want to go through, you should be excited to go through that stuff together.
Yeah.
And looking back at it. Yeah. Like, that's called growing pains. To me, that's the beauty of a relationship. Yeah. Right? You gotta be like, to me, I wouldn't change it, none of that stuff right there. Like, man, we got to like knock down a lot of walls that, you know, sometimes get built, that we get to hide behind, and later in life, when that wall is knocked down for some unforeseen reason, it could affect your relationship in a different kind of way. We got to see behind the curtain with so many things where it's like,
early.
Hey man, this is what it is.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I don't know how.
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't know how? I don't know how. I just said it like, hey, we're gonna figure it out. Like, and it wasn't no internet. It wasn't none of that.
Oh,
where
yeah,
you
Lord, no.
Wasn't no social media, no YouTube where you could go and figure it out. So we had to literally humble ourselves, call relatives, and you know, say to our partner like, yo, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. And if this is a deal breaker for you, if this is where the attraction stops,
then we're gonna be
peace out. Hey, it's peace out. But if you're willing to, I can get it done though. I'm gonna figure out. I'm the dude that's ambitious. She's the woman that's ambitious. The ones that's like, I ain't say I can't get it done, so we not gonna do it. I said, I don't know how to do it, but I'm gonna figure it out. You gonna have it.
Yeah.
You gonna have it.
It will be done.
It will be done. Yeah. So I wouldn't change it.
And I think that, again, that's like very early on in our relationship, we went through a lot of those things, but now as, you know, a seasoned relationship, you know, 25 years, both of us, you know, in our mid 40s, now it's a whole different thing, right? Embarrassment is not necessarily embarrassment, in my opinion. It's more of comfort. Yeah. You know, what are you comfortable with? Because we are changing, right? I'm in my early menopause, right? As they call perimenopause. And I had to tell Chance, like, you know, in conversation, like, I think I might be being more emotional than normal. I'm sensitive to things that maybe used to didn't make me sensitive. But even me having to say that was a little uncomfortable for me, right? Because I'm also going through a change. And also not that he has given me any reason for me to feel like, oh, he's going to judge me for it. But just as a woman, it's like, man, I've been through a lot in my body, and my husband has been through it with me. And it kind of sometimes feels like, dang, here go another thing I'm going to have to tell him we're going to have to go through together. And that's not embarrassment. It's almost like, I know some days I'll be like, dang, he probably tired of this. You know, because the unfortunate truth is I was sick very young in our relationship. I've had a lot of things that have happened to me. And so now, where these last like 5 or 6 years have been great, and I've been feeling so good, now all of a sudden, we got something new that we're gonna have to go through again too. And trying to just find my, you know, push past my own trigger, because it's a trigger for me. So now I got to get to my comfort place to say to my husband, hey, listen, I think I'm feeling these different emotions. I'm a little sensitive than I normally would be. And hoping that he can really understand and hear me with that. So it's not necessarily embarrassment, but like, sometimes maybe like frustration. So
it's important you be able to define it. Like what embarrassment is and what is just discomfort. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I mean, I'm listening to it and I'm like, you've been in the business of making people comfortable. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't feel uncomfortable. Right. Like you in it like, man, okay, all right. Hey, give me some credit for all the embarrassment that I had over the years from lack of patience. And and just know that I have been learning how to be patient and learning how to deal with things. But
I think as you age too.
Yeah, you do.
You get less and less embarrassed because
it would have been embarrassment. Yeah, now it has now, what used to be embarrassment has now transformed into something else, and it's important that you know how to identify it. Like, and that's why I can say I'm not easily embarrassed. Yeah. It has now went to something else to where I'm like, you should know better now. You've been embarrassed by this. Now I'm disappointed in myself, right? It's like, man, come on now, Chan. You've been embarrassed. You was embarrassed by it. You were uncomfortable with it, and now you should be Okay, you should now be in somewhat control of this, and if it's something that you can't control that's embarrassing you, then you should also be able to have some patience. You got to, you know what I mean? You should be able to have some patience or an understanding that you shouldn't be embarrassed or uncomfortable because you can't control it.
Yeah. Very true. Well, I mean, yeah, I think that's it. To wrap it up, it would be, as you age, right, you get less embarrassed, more concerned about how to communicate. And with your partner, like, the concern is like, how do I feel? How is he going to feel? How does he feel? How am I going to feel? But not necessarily embarrassment, you know. When you're best friends and you really are in it together, embarrassment should be so minute. Like, there's really nothing that embarrasses me, I guess, at this point in our relationship. It's more so just concern and how will we communicate?
Nope.
Yeah? To wrap that up?
I completely agree.
Yeah. Any last words?
Nope.
No? Well, very good. Well, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And until the next time, y'all go about y'all business and have the most amazing day. But even if you can't have a good one, don't you dare go messing up nobody else's here. We love you. See you next time.
Peace.
Thank y'all for watching. And don't forget to click here for more episodes.
And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Very good.